All the clothes I want to buy are too expensive. Is there any chance of a price recession? So the bad news about that is that luxury companies, the people who are the decision makers at luxury companies, believe themselves to be completely outside of any system of economic change that might affect everyone else. They think they are special. A great example of that is this article called The Luxury Strategy, which just talks about how luxury brands should behave to differentiate themselves from non-luxury brands. We're not going to read all of the little rules they talk about here, but there's some stuff that just makes sense, like positioning. Luxury brands should focus on their unique identity rather than comparing themselves to their competitors. Okay, there's lots of brands that even outside of the luxury sector might do something like that. But then there's a little bit more like crazy stuff, like this rule that just says do not sell. That obviously is a little bit contrary to popular wisdom. There are lots of brands that would be like, of course, you are in the act of selling because you're a salesperson. Luxury brands do not need to sell anything. The product should be able to sell itself. A really interesting one is keep stars out of advertising, and that's just referring to celebrity marketing. You don't give your product away to anybody. The only company I know of that does this is Hermes. Hermes does not gift things to different celebrities. You got to come and buy it if you want it. Maybe Goyard does that too. I only think if there's anybody that does that, it's only a few companies. There's some stuff that we kind of know to be true about luxury brands, like do not relocate factories to cheaper countries, and whether or not your favorite luxury brand does or does not do that is kind of up for debate. But I mean, like, do not look for cost reduction. Do not sell openly on the internet. Make it difficult for clients to purchase from you. Do not respond to rising demand. Seek a small clientele. So just everything is sort of, and whether or not like this is, like written on the walls of the Hermes headquarters or not, this I think pretty accurately reflects the way that the decision makers at these brands actually think, which is I exist completely outside of the rules of normal economic change and response. It's like John Cleese in the movie Rat Race. I can do anything I want because I'm eccentric. The price of luxury goods is not going to ever go down. It will continue to go up because the reduction in price would imply publicly that something internally with the company has gone wrong. And to be clear, prices in the luxury sector have gotten way out of control. They're bananas. It's insane. Some kid DM'd me one time and was like, hey, check out this Prada coat. And I was like, yeah, of course, that's a really beautiful coat. And he was like, yeah, I'm trying to save up for it right now. I really want that coat. And I was like, my brother in Christ, if you spend $8,000 on a coat, I am going to kill you. We've never met before. I will kill you if you try to spend $8,000 on a coat. Because sometimes the pricing of luxury goods is taken, oh my gosh. How do we explain this? So take what I'm saying here a little bit with a grain of salt. There are some brands that basically only exist to sell bags and shoes. They may sell lots of, like if you go to a flagship store for a big luxury brand, you might find all kinds of things in there. It's filled with clothes, but that the clothes might only make up 7 or 8% of their overall bottom line. So really, if they're looking at all the clothes together, let's say 7%, then they say, okay, this is one of the coats that we're selling this season. That one coat, whether or not we make back what we spent to make that one coat, who cares? It's really not that big of a deal. Let's use the coat as a way to signify how luxurious we are. Slap a $9,000 price tag on that coat, and then people will walk in and go, holy shit, that's more than I paid for my used car. That is an unbelievably expensive coat. And then in their mind, they get this idea that, oh, this brand is so unbelievably nice that I would be lucky just to own a lipstick by them. And then that puts you in a mental state where you are more likely to then spend $45, $50 on a single tube of lipstick. That is way too much to pay for a tube of lipstick. But you're like, this is kind of a deal. In order for me to participate in this wonderful, luxurious, unobtainable world that they've built, this is kind of a steal. I'll take the lipstick. That sounds great. And even if they never sell that coat, they kind of don't care. They probably only made 3 to 5 of those coats overall for the whole world. And they'll go to Farfetch and they'll at least make back the money that they spent to make the thing. But The value to them is in your perception that you get from looking at that price tag. Now, am I telling you that as some kind of like, yo, like fashion is such bullshit, this is so bleh? No, not really. But no, I don't think luxury pricing is gonna get any cheaper anytime soon. Shop secondhand. 95% of my and my wife's closets just comes from secondhand designer stuff. I wear mostly designer stuff all day long, and I have not paid full price for any of it. The trick is to be patient. If you set out just thinking like, oh my gosh, I need a blue pea coat with those cool little toggle fastenings all the way down it, you're never going to be able to find that ever. You just need to be not in a hurry for anything. And then as things pass through your periphery and you're like, wow, that's an incredible price. That thing looks like it's still in incredible shape. I love that designer. That's a beautiful piece. It's in my size. Let's get it. Next question. You can wear, oh my gosh, this is so hard. You can wear one designer for the rest of your life, including the archives. Who do you pick and why? I mean, right now, my answer is Yan Yan Vanessa. So everyone always asks me how to spell his name. This is how you spell Yan Yan's name. I'm wearing this by him right now. I wear a t-shirt by Yan Yan to sleep in every single night. It's these cotton cashmere knit shirts that are just unbelievably comfortable. And when your whole body is wrapped up in it, it is so good. And they're long sleeve and my shoulders get really cold because I have long ass arms. It's the best thing ever. I wear Yan Yan's clothes at least once every 24-hour cycle. I love that brand. And I feel like if I wore it constantly, that would be perfect. My big issue is that I am kind of, and I realize that this should be just like an easy, fun question, but it's like, it really tears me up because I'm like trying to really think of my answer. I sort of need pants by Shinya Kazuka because they're just so freaking comfortable. Like Dickies fabric is so comfortable and it's so breathable and not breathable, but he just cuts them so big that the breathing comes from the cut of the pants. They're very stain resistant. I love the colors that Dickies always makes their stuff in. Like it would be really hard for me to give these up, but I don't think I could make Shinya Kazuka like my whole wardrobe for forever. For the longest time, my answer to this question was Acne Studios because all of their stuff is just unusual enough, but there's lots of basics and I feel like you would never feel out of place at a wedding or like a funeral or like some kind of business meeting as if I am going to those all that I got so much business to do. What is your answer to this question? Do you have a single answer to this? It's what?
Loewe.
Yeah. One time we were at a Loewe store and she tried on a completely leather matching set. So it's like these like cute pants and this like cute little top. And my wife looked absolutely beautiful in it. It was one of my favorite things that she has ever tried on at any store. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait, can we figure out a way to get you that? How much is that? And she was like, I think this might, it's okay. And she was just trying to like call me, like change the subject. And I had not really like looked at Loewe's prices yet when we were doing this. And I was like, no, wait, how much is it actually for like the full set? And she was like, it's like $8,000. There is no girl math that can help us in this situation. I just need to go put this back. But yeah, right now it probably would be Yan Yan Vanessa. The reasoning for that would just be the materials. The materials, I have never felt any brand that is not like Jeffrey B. Small, Carol Christian Pole level, where it's like the selection of these materials was so purposeful. Everything feels like even this is it's a beanie. So this is a yak wool beanie, and just, I mean, there's no way I can describe it to you so that you're having the experience of feeling it, but like the denseness of this fiber, the denseness, softness, but breathability of this is crazy. It's nuts. I've never felt anything like this in my whole life. If I had to wear one thing for the rest of my life, I would want it to be from someone who takes a lot of pride in the selection and the no compromises on the materials that are actually touching your skin. Opening or closing a runway, which is better for a fashion model? I think it would just be opening the runway, right? Because then you're on the front of the Vogue runway app, right? You like get your picture featured. Do you feel like you have missed the golden era of fashion? We never say who is actually asking the questions, but you are all aware of this person. No. And this person and I have talked about this at length in person. I do not feel like I have missed the golden era of fashion. The idea of trying to outline a golden era and then say that we are perpetually in the silly present and that the past is this wonderful thing and there was this huge party and we just missed it. If only we had been born 15 years earlier. Every person who has ever been alive has thought that about every medium of art, and it's just never been true. The past has this wonderful sheen over it where you get to remember the best things, but you forget about all of the normal crap that was coming out at just a high percentage as it does now. 98% of everything is garbage. That has always been true. And I'm actually really enjoying working and living in the present with fashion. I think we have outstanding designers. I feature them all the time on this channel. There is no such thing as a golden age. We're always in the golden age and we're always in the worst time. All things are true at once. I really believe that, by the way. When does fashion become art? Should it be intentional on the designer's part or be serendipitous? I think that trying to put little definitions and constraints and like this is when this starts and this is this, now this is always going to be this, that is really unhelpful with all forms of art. The best definition I've ever heard is that art is anything that an artist makes. And I just don't worry about it a whole lot past that. If we are going to ask questions like that, I need help being the answerer of that question. I need help understanding what you're trying to figure out. Because if we're just trying to create categories and boxes for things for the sake of creating categories, that's not what genres are for, or like labels are for. Labeling stuff for fun, I think actually is pretty damaging. I just need help understanding what you mean by that when you ask something like that. For now, I'm just sticking to art is anything that an artist makes. I'm super excited to share, I am so excited to share with you all something very exciting. So Fashionary, they reached out to me about doing a sponsorship. We have purchased many of their books in the past. We use them as a resource all the time, so I actually thought that worked perfectly as a sponsorship. They're putting out a new book, this book, Stylepedia. It traces the origins and histories of different subcultures from the last 100 years. Whenever a designer wants to reference a specific subculture, you can tell if they understand the full story of what's going on with that subculture, and it is glaringly obvious when they do not. Fashionary, if you don't know, just specializes in making tools and resources for fashion designers, stylists, students. They're an incredible resource. Again, I've bought a ton of their stuff myself. It's some of the most referenced books in my library. Use the code BLISS10 to get some discounts on these books. I don't make any money from that code. Literally, it's just for you. Go use the code. Thank you, Fashionary. You're so cool. How likely is it for fashion designers to accidentally copy each other? Pretty likely. I mean, I feel like that happens constantly and no one is really even consciously aware from it. There was obviously that really bizarre period where for a couple of years, Diet Prada was trying to like accuse someone of copying something, and it's just like, those are two A-line yellow dresses. Like, what? I feel like that happens on a near constant basis accidentally or systemically. Like, I don't really know if this is an accident or not, but there are so many brands, even luxury brands, that depend on trend forecasters like WGSN or little like specialized consultant groups, which are basically just trend forecasters, where they basically like tell them like, hey, in the next couple of years, people are really gonna be thinking about like recycling. So you gotta make stuff that's green, because that's like the color of what leaves are when they're growing. And they put together some like bullshit report that like is like just uses just enough confusing philosophy and sociology terms that they believe that like, wow, this was worth paying $12,000 this month for. This report is great. And it basically just tells them what colors and what cuts of clothes to use. I would say that's more like systemic copying. They're just sort of all following the same voice, which is very annoying, and I wish designers would trust themselves a little bit more. But I guess you can't if all you're worried about is making sure that this quarter you make as much money as humanly possible. It's all a bummer. All of that aside, this is not the same as when brands lift something from a smaller company and just say like, oh, that's your thing? No, that is my thing. Obviously, that is copying, and that's not cool. And you know what? Can I tell you my conspiracy theory about this? I think that very often when we say like, oh my gosh, there's this smaller designer and their like distinct thing that is fully theirs has been just fully co-opted by this humongous brand, and there's nothing that the little designer can do. All the time, we're always like, oh, creative director, you're such a piece of shit for like copying this small designer. Here's my theory about that. I don't think it's the creative director. I think that the creative director, they're being given a once in a lifetime opportunity to run the house. There are fewer open positions for creative directors than there are spots in the NBA. They know how lucky they are to be there. And most of them do have a vision that they really want to see carried out. I don't think that they are looking at small designers and being like, oh yes, I will steal this. I think that one of the CDs that's below them, all of their art directors, because they have a team of art directors that report ideas to them and say like, okay, I'm responsible for 5 looks for the upcoming show. I know what the direction is. The CD told me what the direction is. I got to come up with 5 looks. But maybe they were partying too much and they're just so hungover and they just really don't feel like it. And then they're like, holy shit, my runway looks are due tomorrow. And they start scrolling on their phone and they go, oh, how many followers do they have? They have 21,000 followers. No one is going to know. I'm just going to just do this same thing. And then the main creative director has never heard of this designer before, so they don't know that it's being copied. And they're just like, wow, that looks so complete. Damn, good job on that. Great. And they just approve it and then they move on. And really, the problem was not that the company knew that they're copying. They're like, no one can stop us. We are so huge. It's that one dumbass just said, I'm going to take this and I don't think anyone's going to catch me. And then no one did until the designer then accuses their boss of theft. That is my little conspiracy theory. I have no evidence for that. I'm guessing, based on what I know about the industry, that's what I'm guessing is going on, rather than someone being like, meh, while they twirl their mustache and go, I will steal. Oh, sorry, I guess the meh person would be the art director in that case, but not the creative director. I really don't think very many of those guys are setting out to steal. Okay, so we've been asked this question before. We're just gonna say like it's the one that like right now in this very hour you get one answer. I'm gonna take one and you're gonna take one. What is your favorite handbag? No ordinary handbag shape though. Okay, my one right now, just right this second, is the large size of the Glam Slam. The massive pillow of a bag that you can literally, I know people who literally use it as a pillow when they're like on a plane or whatever. Right this second, what is your favorite bag?
La Mer croissant bag.
La Mer croissant bag. Okay, cool. What are your favorite socks? Do you have favorite socks? Yes. I feel like people who have watched this channel for a long time are like, oh my gosh, here he goes. I only wear Anonymousism socks. So this is how the name of the brand is spelled. This is not an incredible colorway. These are usually ones that I would like wear around the house a little bit more. Anonymousism socks are almost entirely cotton, but the color, it's like this multicolor. All of them are 5 color combinations. So these kind of lean towards red and orange, but there's white in here, there's maroon in here, there's oxblood in here, and there's kind of a burnt orange as well. But like all of these, I have so many of them at this point, and it's because I look for sales and because I ask for them for Christmas for my family every year. I love Anonymousism socks. I bring an extra pair with me in my bag just about everywhere I go. My feet sweat a lot and my feet get really, really, really cold. My hands and my feet get mega cold all the time. So I have to pretty much always be wearing socks. I don't do sandals or flip-flops or any stupid footwear stuff like that. My toes are tucked away. You will never see my feet. But yeah, the more neutral color combinations of these have so many different types and tones of colors sewn into them that it becomes very easy to match with just about anything in your closet. They're mad comfy. They're really, really thick. So when like, especially when they're brand new, when you're like standing on a hard floor just wearing the socks, you can like feel how thick the material is and it just feels, oh, it's a really good feeling. I love it. That's it. I love you a lot. Go join the Patreon so you can just watch hours of content that you can't see here. See ya.